The Buick Regal was thoroughly reimagined for the 1997 model year, while retaining the 3800 engine, which provided decent and reliable power. Being assembled at GM's award-winning Oshawa plant, Buick's near-luxury midsize sedan shared sheet metal with its sibling, the Century, and shared other components with the Pontiac Grand Prix and Oldsmobile Intrigue. In this episode, we're going to take a closer look at the 1997 to 2004 Buick Regal, and how Buick was on a mission to win back customers that were lured away by foreign nameplates during the early 90s. So grab a cup of peppermint tea, kick back, and let's get down to the nitty-gritty. The third generation Buick Regal made its initial appearance in October 1987, utilizing the GMW platform. This new third generation Regal was the first car to ride on that platform. Despite the fact the new Regal returned to Buick's original concept and being offered only as a coupe and targeting personal luxury buyers, it departed from tradition in being the first front-wheel drive model, along with not offering a performance option or addition. Owing to the declining personal luxury car market, a four-door sedan version of the Regal was eventually reintroduced. We are using the term reintroduced since a sedan variant was available on an earlier generation. It was also around this time when the Regal gained the option of the Buick 3.8-liter V6. The 3800 V6 was unique to the Regal. Its W-body platform mates, the Chevy Lumina, Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, and Pontiac Grand Prix, had a different arrangement of engine options. And as soon as the early 1990s, plans for a future successor model were in the initial stages. 1993. Development was underway for a new fourth generation Regal. The redesigned Regal would utilize the revised W platform. The design was frozen in 1993 with Wayne Cady and Wayne Cherry being in charge of the project. The new car would continue in sedan format and offer the 3800 engine. 1993 also just so happened to be the same year when the design for the Pontiac Grand Prix was frozen. The upcoming Regal would be built on virtually the same platform and suspension. That said, there would be similarities in terms of ride, structural rigidity, handling, and overall dimensions. However, there was a stark contrast in how the cars were tuned. For instance, Buick used 4 unique rubber isolation bushings between the independent rear suspension subframe and the body as a means to mitigate road noise and vibration. Pontiac, on the other hand, bolted the crossmember directly to the body, and although the front McPherson struts and lower L-arms would be virtually identical to the Grand Prix arrangement, Buick selected much softer rubber suspension bushings. Furthermore, the Regal's spring rates and shock damping system were completely different, providing handling that would be crisp and responsive without the harshness. 1996. Production for the Buick Regal began this year via General Motors Oshawa assembly. Along with the new platform, the car grew significantly larger than its predecessor. The wheelbase increased 1.5 inches. The front and rear track became 2.5 and 3.3 inches wider, respectively. The new sedan sported an additional 3.3 inches in height. The increase in dimensions translated to a more spacious interior and more trunk space. The previous generation Regal offered a coupe variant. However, with the decline of personal luxury coupes, that model was dropped and did not see a new generation. The new Regal was accompanied by a new Century, and the differences between the two models were primarily cosmetic, power options, and seating configurations. The new Regal was virtually the sportier, upmarket version of the Century, which had ditched the A platform and now utilized the W platform. Check out our Buick Century episode for all of the details. The Regal offered fancier trim and larger engines, once again featuring the 3800 engine, although it was a newer variant. The new Regal offered the L36 Series II V6 and the L67 Series II supercharged V6, both displacing 3.8 liters. The sedan was offered in 2 models, the LS and the sportier GS. Other than trim and features, the main difference between the LS and GS was under the hood. The LS was powered by the naturally aspirated 3800 Series II V6, generating 195 horsepower and 220 pound-feet of torque. The GS featured the supercharged mill, cranking out 240 horsepower with a V8 style 280 pound-feet of torque at just 3,600 RPM. Power was put to the pavement via the front wheels through a 4-speed automatic transmission. The GS got the heavy-duty transmission to compensate for the additional torque of the supercharged engine. The GS utilized the heavy-duty transmission, otherwise known as the 4T65E. The GS came equipped with 16-inch aluminum alloy wheels, wrapped in more aggressive tires, and firmer suspension tuning. The supercharged Regal GS effortlessly matched the Grand Prix GTP in a sprint to 60 miles per hour, which, especially for that time, was brisk performance for an otherwise conservatively styled midsize sedan. Most buyers, however, were more than happy with the non-supercharged engine, which was still quite powerful and more fuel efficient. The naturally aspirated 3800 engine in the Regal LS gained 5 horsepower for $1999, which brought it up to 200 horsepower. 2004 marked the final model year for the 4th generation Buick Regal, with the final car rolling off the assembly line on June 1st, 2004. The Regal for the North American market was replaced in 2005 by the Buick LaCrosse, which also utilized the W platform. From 2001 to 2004, Buick offered a Joseph Abboud appearance package on both the GS and LS models. Out of the other Regal models, there would be another variant joining the lineup. For the 2003 and 2004 model years, Buick linked up with Street Legal Performance, producing the Buick Regal GSX. SOP Auto Group made significant upgrades to the supercharged Regal GS sedans. The suspension was modified with lowering springs, larger diameter sway bars, and tubular rear trailing arms. The dealer-installed options and dealer-supply accessories were also offered for the Regal LS. The L67 was modded to boost performance. From the aesthetic perspective, there was a body-colored grille, trunk spoiler, and a new set of wheels, further hinting at the sporty nature of the sedan. There were 16-inch aluminum wheels with GSX or LSX logo center caps, available in high luster silver or chrome finish. Although this car was nothing like the GSX Stage 1 from 1970 or the all-black 3.8-liter turbocharged GNX from 1987, it was still produced to be gutsy with increased acceleration. The GSX was available in 3 different stages. The Stage 1 package added 10 horsepower with the addition of a dual stainless steel catback exhaust system and free-flowing cold air induction system. Buyers that chose the Stage 2 package gained a Hypertech power programmer with an SOP custom calibration tune in conjunction with the Stage 1 components. All in all, this generated an additional 20 horsepower. The Stage 3 package was a top-tier option. There was a 3.5-inch smaller diameter supercharger pulley to crank up the boost. All in all, it generated an additional 30 horsepower over the stock L67's 240. The figures were now 270 horsepower and 312 pound-feet of torque. Despite the model not coming out until 2003, a licensed SLP dealer could implement the upgrades on any 4th generation Regal GS, regardless of its model year. With surplus parts readily available, there were also many clones produced. However, an authentic GSX can be verified from an SLP door jamb label with the correct part number for the kit. Speaking of collaborations, there was also one between General Motors and Shanghai Automotive Industry Corporation. The joint venture became known as Shanghai GM and ultimately led to the production of the Buick Regal in Shanghai, China. The Regal sold in the Chinese market demanded a higher price tag than that of its North American counterpart. Despite this, the China spec Regal still sold at a high volume. This particular Regal sported a different visual effect from the US version. The engine lineup was also different, including a 2-liter inline-4, a 2.5-liter V6, and a 3-liter V6. A 4-speed automatic was paired with either V6, while the 4-cylinder variants got a 5-speed manual. The China spec Regal also had unique trim levels. The base model was known as the New Century. The higher-end models were designated GL and GLX. This version of the Regal was even sold in the Philippines as the Chevy Lumina. Check out our Chevy Lumina episode for all of the details. Production for this generation ended in November 2008 and was replaced by the Opel Insignia-based Regal. Wayne Cady, vehicle chief designer, mentioned, "The Regal has an original, all-new youthful look, specifically designed to be the most expressive sedan in the Buick line." Let us know if you've driven or owned a 4th generation Buick Regal. Just like the Century, I still see plenty of Regals of this generation on the road, and plenty for sale in relatively good condition. As always, thanks for coming out to the show, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until next time, this is your host Rob, and thanks for tuning in to Antique Tags.